Hey guys, Stefan Fischer here from Alloffroad. Thank you very much for joining me on the final part of our epic South Australian adventure. In this episode now we leave the rugged and remote coastline of the Great Bight and head southeast to Coffin Bay National Park and Lincoln National Park. They are both far more accessible but also absolutely stunning. So please keep watching and follow us on this epic conclusion of our South Australian adventure. On our way to Streaky Bay, we had a quick stop at Eyre's waterhole, also called Cuyena. He used this waterhole on his expedition to Point Bell in Albany, Western Australia in 1840. Of course, this water supply was well known to the indigenous Nuau, Wirangu and Kukata people who used it likely for centuries before. It was fairly common in these scouting expeditions from the early explorers that they dug out wells, water holes, and there's moist in, so if you dig a bit there you definitely would get water. We just arrived at Coffin Bay, and before we're heading out bush again, we're gonna do a bit of luxury. Can do an oyster tour here as well, which we're not doing. Already ordered though. Did you order? Ah, yeah, that.
So mate, how were the oysters?
I had a whole mix, which I showed before. Yeah, beautiful, very nice. Good selection of different things, beautiful pate, and yeah, worth it. We just entered Coffin Bay National Park, and the first part is two-wheel drive and tar, and then apparently a four-wheel drive only section starts, which I'm looking forward to. So far it looks very promising. Scotty, it seems like all the naming here, Misery Bay, Point Avoid and so on, sounds all pretty grim. Do you know anything about the history, why that is? It doesn't look like grim, what I've seen so far.
No, mate. It definitely paints a picture of it's pretty grim, doesn't it?
The usual tire pressure adjustment when we change from tar to sand. Yeah, very different landscape again. A bit greener, a bit lusher. This was nowhere as remote as where we spent the past 3 days, and it really felt in the middle of civilization. However, the national park is beautiful, and especially the beaches are absolutely stunning. We found a good camp spot with no one around at Morgan's Landing and decided to stay there for the night. A second time I put the Super Pack 270 awning up. One thing which always annoyed me on the Foxwing were these things, and you couldn't tap them, so it would be so easy. Just have them like this, and this way they don't get caught in here. Yeah, it's very heavy duty canvas. I had now bit help from Dave to put it up, but you definitely can do it alone. I forgot to first put this attachment here in, that strap, because you need that to tighten it. And then one of the things I really like is that you have you can pack the feet down, and I really like the straps to come with it, but I think I need one or two more of these straps, which is here. Heavy duty webbing, not a normal thin little guy rope. Would be awesome if the guys could put some fluoro in it. I did a lot of research before settling on the Super Pack, and I have the other Super Pack, the smaller one, for quite some time, or nearly 2 years now, and that is my quick overnighter. But we may be staying here for another day, so I thought I'd put the big one up for tonight. Pretty good awning space. It's for a stretcher. In heavy rain I've got one side wall which I can put up here, down, and plenty of covered area here for cooking and so on, which is quite handy. And it is quite nice here. We were all standing next to Dave's car and having a chat.
We had a visitor.
We had a visitor. It was a black fella with a red belly.
It was literally what, a metre and a half behind me. Just came through. Not a care in the world.
Goes past us. I mean, it's surprising that it didn't go through the middle of us. We were standing in a triangle, and goes along here and then disappears. On top of that, we have right there a big ant nest. But
and let's not forget the bees.
Let's not forget the bees, because I have at least 100 bees around my car. Yeah, still. They started settling on me when I had dinner, so I had to give them a bit of a knockout. Mind you, fortunately it's bees, not wasps, so they are not super aggressive. As long as you're calm and so on, it's all right. But yeah, it is a bit hostile here. I went for a swim, which was actually warmer inside than outside.
Yeah, the water temp's very nice actually.
It is.
I'll swim tomorrow when it's not so cold with the wind.
It's nearly the coldest day we had, huh? Oh.
Coldest evening, yeah.
Benderby was chilly.
Yeah, on top of the mountains.
Yeah.
Right, we're just packing in. It's not 7 o'clock. And, I don't know whether you can read that, 6:55, and the bees are already out here. Yeah, back on the track, leaving Morgan's Landing. It was actually not a bad camp spot. So we're heading now towards north, towards the top. The park certainly has a lot of wildlife. It has been a long time since I saw that much wildlife in such a small area, from snakes to shinglebacks to emus to kangaroos. Campground, it's alright, but no fires allowed. Fireplaces everywhere though. We dropped into most campgrounds to have a look around and see whether we may want to come back here at some stage. Campground here, Coffin Bay National Park. Weather today is not that. Yeah, Scotty, you're leaving us?
Yes. Off to Adelaide tomorrow, hoping to make Adelaide tomorrow, so got to pick up the good wifey and we're going to keep venturing on up north. Yeah.
Sounds good, mate. Don't get stuck. You have no one to recover you, no cruiser, no Range Rover. So
I think I'll be right.
let's hope. And have fun, mate. It was
it's been a
great trip.
Bloody awesome.
Awesome. Dave and myself continued on trying to explore the west coast of Coffin Bay National Park and make it down to Misery Bay. We tried to explore the west coast a bit more on Coffin Bay National Park, and I've got quite a few tracks there on Explorers, but these tracks have all been closed down. It seems like that national park here really has been quite a bit sanitized. So a lot of the old tracks are all blocked, and yeah, it's not really that much to do anymore. Unfortunately, there are 2 or 3 beautiful beaches on the west coast, but there's no camping there. You pretty much drive out there, have a look or have a swim, but it was fairly windy and not sunny, so we didn't have a swim. So not too much to do at Coffin Bay National Park. So now we're heading to Point Avoid, see whether we can get on the beach there. I'm just heading back a bit. Dave just said he found a little tiger snake or death adder. The common death adder is one of the most poisonous snakes in Australia and the world. It has the longest fangs of any Australian snake and can deliver the fastest bite of any recorded Australian snake. Human death usually occurs within 6 hours after the bite. Unlike other snakes, it works as an ambush predator, and it can lay still for days to wait for prey to come past. This makes it quite dangerous for humans because it doesn't have the usual flight approach. Unfortunately, this beautiful snake is under threat from the cane toad, which eats its young, and if a cane toad is eaten by the snake, it dies as well from the poison. Shortly afterwards, we came across this interesting plant. It appears to have flowers which look like feathers, so I'm keen to hear whether you know what it's called. So what do you reckon, hard to get out?
I thought it may have been, but no, it was alright.
On the way in, we met a guy who just returned from Misery Bay, and he mentioned we wouldn't get over that sand dune. He tried for quite some time and then had to turn back. But as we can see here, no issue whatsoever. The sand on this beach is quite soft and it would be very easy to get stuck here. Somewhere on the beach are supposedly remnants of an old shipwreck of the Sensation, however we could not locate it. A few hundred meters from the entrance to the beach was a nice, secluded and sheltered camp spot, and we decided to have lunch here. Given that this was our second last day, we agreed to leave Coffin Bay National Park and drive to Port Lincoln National Park to have a look around and see how that is. On the way out, we had a look and little play in this beautiful sand dune area at Coffin Bay National Park.
What was that you had? I didn't want to disturb you.
Thanks, there was another shingleback. But any wildlife in here, being it snakes, shinglebacks, okay, maybe except the roos and the birds, are so tame. That guy, he just actually walked towards me then and had a little bit of a closer look. Just like swimming here, and it is so much colder than where we were yesterday. Unbelievable. And then I drove here on the beach and it became super soft. So I reversed back and there is a Pajero stuck now, which Dave is assisting. Absolutely stunning beach though. It's beautiful. But the water, whew. We had driven every track we could find in Coffin Bay National Park, so we decided to spend the last night at Lincoln National Park and have a look around there. Yeah, not sure how that's going to be. It's all tarred, but we booked tonight now. It's evening, so we will see how that is. We booked Woodcutters Bay, which is supposedly a bit more secluded and four-wheel drive only, but it seems to be a more commercialized national park here. We arrived at Woodcutters Bay late in the afternoon. The drive in there is quite bumpy, especially if you don't bother to air down for the 2 kilometers, and the camp spots are not really that crash hot. The most of the trip I lived on Reddick, so it was time to get some of my frozen meals in. I had an Indian butter chicken curry base, then I had my frozen chicken and frozen vegetable, and I mixed it with microwave rice. It actually turned out to be quite delicious. What have you found, Dave?
Right, razorfish. Not sure what their proper name is, but they're commonly known as razorfish. But it appears that there's many of them in this little section of water, because these are all over the beach, washed up.
Yeah.
As you can see, very sharp edges. And
Oh yeah, that is razor sharp.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's how they sit in the sand, with just the top.
Yeah.
So if you're walking along, it will,
Step on them.
it can quite easily slice you open. So we were quite fortunate yesterday that we didn't pick up one of these with our feet walking in there, but
Dangerous Australia. Even the mussels kill you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Spalding Cove. deserted. That's actually nice. Stamford Hill, fairly touristy here. Empty for us though. Yeah, find water or wither. Okay. In 1842, a team of bullocks and a sled were used to haul materials to the site to create one of the first monuments in South Australia. It was in memory of Matthew Flinders, who in 1802 sent out several groups to search for fresh water. One of the groups, including him, climbed Stamford Hill, and from that vantage point they saw Sleaford Mere, a brackish lake, but that helped them to survive and continue on the expedition. It's quite amazing that in the early 1800s they would go through such an effort getting the material there, up that hill, and create a monument. Come here! Just leaving the Lincoln Peninsula, and yeah, beautiful, but it is really caravan, I think grey nomad central, because a lot of the campgrounds are very easy accessible, beautiful beaches. But yeah, keep that in mind if that is what you're after. It's certainly well worth a visit. If you are more on the adventurous side, you may give this one a miss. Quick cleanup in the safe wash bay, getting all the salt and everything off, and ready to go. This is the end of our epic South Australian four-wheel drive adventure. If you haven't watched all the episodes, I can only highly recommend it. It was certainly a most memorable trip for me, and probably the most diverse 2-week trip I have ever done. Creating these videos takes a lot of time, effort and money, and my channel is mainly self-supported. I have a little bit income from YouTube and Patreon, but that does not even cover the fuel costs. So if you enjoy my videos and like to support me, head over to Patreon and become one of my Patreon supporters. With the equivalent of a cup of coffee or two, you can really help me staying independent and creating these videos for you. If you are already an existing Patreon supporter, thank you very, very much. It is greatly appreciated. My final thanks goes to everyone involved in the trip. It was absolutely awesome.